What's going on, everybody? Can you guys hear me? I'll get started in just a minute. Where is my chat? Great. All right, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Sunday. So the stream is the first one since the 4K synth has been released. I think it's going to be maybe a little bit redundant to some people. This is going to kind of double as the commercial for the 4K synth until I actually have a commercial made. So I'm going to go over the synth in general, then we're going to demo some of the existing 4K content, and then maybe we'll play with the geometry system after that, because that's what I'm working on right now. Anyways, this is the new 4K synth. It is a major upgrade to the HD synth. It has 10 times the processing capability, has significantly improved hardware, better ADCs, better CV jacks, a bigger LCD screen, it has better potentiometers, has cooler buttons, it has a big onboard hard drive. It's definitely awesome in a lot of ways. It has built-in Wi-Fi, so no longer a need for a Wi-Fi dongle. It has a dedicated HDMI in, and it also comes with a HDMI to USB adapter for additional HDMI input. So, that being said, that's the technical specs for the synth. It is available now. We have some of them. We don't have too many of them at the moment. We'll probably sell out in the next couple of weeks, but we have another batch being manufactured, and those will be available in September. So if you want one, now is definitely the time to get it. All right, so that being said, on board, there is a whole bunch of new stuff. Not only can it run all of the existing contents on the HD synth, it's completely backwards compatible. Every single thing that is created on the HD synth can be run on here. Although at the moment, there's no way to port patches. It just comes with like the factory library. But it can run all of that content. It can run it all at 4K. It can run it all at 2K. And it can run it all at 1080p and 720p. So it's dynamic resolution. It's compatible with any display, but it also has just a variety of internal resolutions where you can kind of switch a dial for resolution versus frame rate. Yeah, like the previous synth, it's audio reactive, it's MIDI reactive, it can interact with video inputs, all kinds of stuff like that. It has, right now, several hundred new modules, mostly effects and texture generators and random stuff like that. And it also has new instruments, and we're going to play with all of that. So here is a patch. I think this is using some of the new content. So we're just going to go through basically my cool 4K patch library pretty much one at a time and play with all of them. I don't even remember what this one's doing, so we can go in here and actually investigate. This one is using the video texture. I don't even know. Doesn't really look like it. I think it's overpowering any of the textures that it's actually using. I think this one, yeah, this uses the new lighting model. So like there's some kind of complicated math with like lighting that happens on both of the synths, and this has got a new lighting model which is a lot shinier. It's more realistic, and it kind of simulates like metals, and it uses like PBR if you're familiar with that kind of stuff. But that's what's going on here, and we can here play with it. It's got all kinds of parameters like always. Letting intensity down, all the way up. Maximum shininess. I'm gonna be periodically like pausing the video every once in a while just to get some by pausing the video I mean cutting out the narration and getting rid of the overlay just so I can get some actual footage for social media and all that kind of stuff. Speaking of which, let me actually start recording. There we go. You know, maybe I determined last time the recording quality wasn't good enough. Whatever, I don't need the video stuff today. I'll do that later. All right. Let me actually check the overlay. I always have problems trying to get the chat overlay, so try this. And the overlay is not working. Was deactivated, so let's try this again. No, it's still broken. All right, one more time. So you know, I hate this chat overlay so much. It works. Oh, there we go. All right, it is actually working. One of these days I will actually figure out what it takes to make this thing work consistently, but that's not today. Yeah, we can move the lights around. Zoom the light out. Increase the attenuation. All right, this is this patch. Let's go see what else we have. Julia set renderer. I'm not going to get into this, but go in here and actually create old school fractals. We've got this thing right here, which is a basic cat party patch. It's cool. It's got this turbulence effect, or turbulence texture generator. You can change the intensity. It seems to change the color. And the spread, which I think is like the density of the turbulence. Change color palettes. I think this has the lighting on. I don't know if it's actually doing anything. It might be. It actually seems like it is. And we have this directional smear thing. Oh yeah. All right. So the turbulence being combined with smearing deformation, and also some chromatic aberration. We've got a variety of effects here. This is an invert effect. All right, what else we got? Got like 30 patches to get through here. I'm not going to play with this instrument in too great a detail at the moment, but we do have Noodle Party. This is one of the new instruments. This one is best at 2K. 4K is a little bit too hardcore for this instrument. See, it's gotten much smoother now that I do that. And we got this patch that I made, I think, in the last live stream, which is around here somewhere. Which is definitely cool. It's got some like pixelation. It's got this domain warping thing kind of going on in the middle. This one is definitely a sort of a technical demo. This instrument's going to be kind of spec'd out more generally to be like a 3D SDF renderer, so it's going to have a lot more shapes and stuff like that. So this instrument is definitely due for a pretty thorough overhaul as part of the beta process. Anyways, back to what we're doing. We got all this new geometry stuff. I'm not going to get into it super in detail right now because I think this is what I'm going to play with after I kind of finish my overview of what we have in these patches. But this stuff is super cool, and this is definitely where I'm going to be putting a lot of my effort over the next couple of months. This is still not out yet. It's going to come out on the next release, which I'm hoping to get out this week, maybe next week, or maybe the week after, but it shouldn't be much longer than that. This thing has been in the works for, Jesus, like 8 months, but I will actually get it out pretty soon. I think we have another one from this somewhere. At least we should. Yeah, this thing. So this is... The geometry system can support 2 models at a time. You've got like a torus, which is kind of being exploded based on the audio. And it's got like a cube with some cutouts in it. And yeah, this stuff is cool. This is definitely happening soon. All right, I got this guy right here. So this is one of the demos from one of the original live streams showing the fractal instruments with some of the new post-processing stuff. So not only are there new modules on this synth and new instruments, there's 3 new instruments, by the way, at the moment. There are also new slots to put modules in on the existing instruments. For instance, the fractal instrument now can support a deformation, a hyper effect, and an additional effect. So we can just go in here, and cube view is awesome. There's all kinds of other ones. Domain Z. Crystallizer. Glitch Slicer, which is cool. Yeah, so all of the instruments have been touched. Like the oscilloscope can have all these kind of effects on it now. The interference instruments, the 3D oscilloscope as well. So like everything has been updated to some degree. So the possibilities are literally enormous. We have cell shading on right now. We can turn it on vaporwave mode, which is one of my favorites. There's also some of these parallax terrain things, which are fucking wild. All right, what else we got in here? This is the basic cat party patch. It's like disc. This is a disc generator right here. And I think it's being modulated by some of the audio system. Yeah, so there's like a twist control right here, which is being hooked up to the audio. I don't know what I did, but that was cool. It's got clearly a black and white effect on it now. I don't know how I turn that on, but whatever. It's got a black and white. Yeah, I see it right there. And then there's like an ASCII shape thing, which is cool. Off, on, kind of turns the image into squares and pluses and stuff like that. The strata thing is also. All right. This one right here. I think we made this on a stream a little while ago too. This is another generator plus just a bunch of effects. So we got the cat generator, which is the R-tile effect. And it might have some of this new lighting on it too. It does, yeah. It's just kind of acting as an effect. I think this one has some interesting audio reactivity going on to it too. Let's change it to... All right. Got this thing here. I don't even remember where this one came from. This might actually be from. No, this is using the new domain repetition. This is one of the coolest things on here. So if we just solo this module. So we have this put through a bunch of effects, and this generator comes from this AB generator, which is blending some texture out or some of the output of the synth. So we have some feedback going on here, and that's combining with this domain repetition thing, which is fucking rad. Change from fold 4 to fold 3. Three-way symmetry. I think we have some. No. Speed control right here. Slow it down. Instead of square, we'll go with linear. And zoom it in. What have we done? Cool. This is mostly just being completely overpowered by whatever effects we have here. Wait. Yeah, I think this is being overpowered by the post-processing stuff. So I'll go and turn it all off right now. We have an edge detection effect, which I think is what's controlling most of this stuff. Yeah. And we have some tileification happening, and then some inversion. We'll turn off too. Let's change the effect to something else. Oh, it's also modulated. Wow, that's gnarly. A little bit. Yeah, this is great. All right, so we got this guy here too. Just another fractal thing. What do we have? This is using the iridescent texture with some feedback. So this is our starting point right here. We also have some modulation, which is modulating all these grids. And that's being combined with itself with a bunch of post-processing effects. Let's try changing this effect here. We have a pastel effect. Instead of that, we'll use. It's already cool. Let's go into the post-processing layer. Instead of tile 2, we'll go to mess around. Variable. If we modulate the amount here, I don't even know what's on the modulation channels here. It's not bad. Yeah, this thing can definitely do some wild stuff. This one right here, it's all right. It's not my favorite, but let's see if we can make it a little better. It's a little bit too grayscale. So check out the seed. That's the starting point of all the fractal stuff. It's not bad. All right. Get into the instruments. What do we have? It's for post-processing. Oh, it's not bad. The post-processing is kind of mangling it then. All right. Post-processing. Let's just make it not gray. Bleach bypass. I think it must be you. That and the deformation. All right. That was the problem. Okay. No modulation. Turn up the effects. And then we'll change the effect. Try. That's a lot. This. It's kind of highlighting some artifacts in the middle, though. I have no idea what's causing that, but whatever. I I like this. This is nice. All right. What else we got? Oh yeah, this stuff. This thing fucking rules. Yeah, so this is using the planar rate hyper effect, which is interesting. All right, so what do we have? We have starting off with this thing again. It's this iridescent texture generator. Let's try to change it. Change the lava. I mean, it's not terrible. I think all the stuff in the party module is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Pretty much every one of these fucking wins. It's not. Cube? Orb? All right. Well, let's reset it. All right. And then yeah, we got this planar rate effect, this woven lattice hyper effect. Is that even on? Oh yeah, it is. Let's increase the density of this lattice. Weave scale. It's actually on a LFO. What is the LFO's range? Yeah, we're gonna double it. More dense lattice here. Playing around with the colors. Got this color XOR effect, which is, I don't really remember how it works. It's not enough sufficient disk space. All right, I'm gonna clean up disk space real quick, guys. Bear with me. Shit. All right. Sacrificing live streams from last year. All right. Start recording. All right. Yeah. So I've got this XOR bits. I think we're at 2. No, this is pretty rad. All right. So I'm gonna leave this effect as it is, and we're gonna turn on effect 2, which is already on. It's on spaz. So we're gonna change it to sphere. I mean, black and white is cool. Kind of wish I could make the squares move around a little more, but ooh, this is nice. This is really nice. All right, and then we're gonna put it through an effect 3, which right now is not doing anything. All right, so effect 3, go backwards. Lorentz flow. It's a little garish, but kind of cool. Washed out, too much. This is awesome. This is really great. I can make the color to stand out a little bit more. Whoa. There's like a clear threshold around 2.15, 2.14. That can't be a convenience, right? Isn't that E? No, it's 2718. I'm way out. 2.14. Anyways, a couple of these have a clear threshold. I don't remember what this even does. It's just a bunch of formulas, and I can't commit all this shit to memory. Well, it's cool. All right. We've got another one here, which is really similar, except I think it's using the domain repetition. So this is our seed, which is awesome. Let's go in here and change it to new squares. Let's do something interesting. All right. This is fucking cool on its own. We need this square patterns. All right. Turn off this. Kind of destroys it, but that is cool. Yeah, all right, so we're gonna use this and just completely trash the party. Turn off the form. Huh, where is the 3D? Oh, yeah, it's Hyper Effect 2. I see. All right. Let's go back and reset this. We need to go in here and change this to mod. No, mod. And I need some more animation in here. If I turn up the speed. Yeah, this works. I think there's like an N parameter too. I wish I could put LFOs on this parameter right here, but I can't right now. So we're just gonna leave it like this. And then there's the scale. Yeah, I'll animate this scale from like 0.5 up to 0.8. All right. That's pretty gnarly. All right, so we're gonna go into the party, turn off the second hyper effects. Okay. What else is going on here? We have the woven lattice, which is cool. Pixelate. Whoa. Oh no, that's a hyper effect too. All right, that's already off. Woven lattice. Yep. Going off. Effect 1. Effect 2. Let's try. This is cool. All right, so effect 2 is off. Effect 3 is off. So effect 2, I'm gonna turn it back on and then change it to something else. Maybe some black and white, something or other, or something. I mean, this is already pretty rad. Saturate. Yeah. Like this. Quantize. Sorry, pretty quantized. Huh. I mean, even just red by itself is cool. Monochrome. Oh. Oh yeah, I am. Next release is also going to come with all of these patches. This is cool. I'm going to save this like this, just so I have a checkpoint. I'm going to start playing with, try to play with some hyper effects. I think they're largely off here. with this woven lattice, which is off. All right, so I'm gonna turn the hyper effect on and then change it. This is bad. Luma Strata always looks cool. This is pretty fucking cool. Parallax Terrain is always also pretty great. Recursive Mosaic is too computationally intense. Cell shading also always looks rad. This vapor wave effect is pretty great too. Let's play around with this. Scan. I'm gonna make this LFO from 0 to 0.1. Make it pretty slow. VW Chroma. Actually, I kind of like some of the Luma Strata effects a little more. Yeah, it's pretty rad. All right, let's go backwards. Nope. This is terrible. Also not terrible. Glitch effect is still broken. What was that? Huh. I don't like it. Edges. Tunnel? No, thank you. All right, we're going back to Luma Strata. I'm going to try to change the color palette with Effect 3. Let's try like one of the palette things or sphere. Nope. All right, I'm saving this. All right, it's enough on this patch. This is cool. All right, we were at, I don't know, somewhere around here. Shit, got a bunch of these to get through. Oh, yeah. This thing came from one of my weird streams the other night. Pretty gnarly. Not as much as this one, so this is the epileptic, or pretty epileptic one, so slightly advanced warning. All right. I think this is the fractal instrument with the high quality lighting. Got a couple of that, and then this is that put through this cube effect. So this is definitely the acid cube. Looks a little washed out. I don't know if that's me or my screen or what. It must be. What's up with that? Got these things from a couple weeks ago too, which I don't know if actually. Yeah, they might need audio. Yeah, I don't know why these ones aren't working anymore. I think this is the fractal instrument put through some edge detection. Yeah, that's some swirly feedback stuff. Like I said, this one is all right. I think this one, yeah, it needs audio. Right, this one's basically a duplicate, so I'm gonna delete that guy. These are all pretty similar here. So do I like this one better or this one? First one. So this one's getting deleted. And we've got 3. Great. Basically the same thing. Alright, deleting you. We got this guy here, which is also the same thing. Alright. Let's see what I can do here. Let's go into the recurse module and play around with some of these angles. I think this is all created by an edge detection effect, or edge detection post-processing. Yep, neon edges. Do I have any controls here? Neon amount 2.4. Yeah, it seems great. It's really weird, but it's cool. All right. Wavy Boy. So this is Wavy Boy with some post-processing effects, which we haven't really played around with. There's a recursive mosaic effect, which basically like uses copies of the final image to actually texture the final image, so you get some feedback here. But there's a bunch of other things you can play around with. Got this pixelation, which we will change to something else. Bands. Nope. All right, rainbow. We don't want the rainbow effect. Rainbow effect is not good enough. Invert. That's cool. All right, and then we'll play around with this hyper effect. Cell shading. Can I zoom in on this thing? How does this work? I don't even ever remember what the controls are of this guy. View R. That seems like the thing that I want to. Yeah. All right, we've got too much of this tiling effect. We're gonna tone that down a little bit. I mean, this already looks pretty rad. Yeah, this is just a demonstration that all the instruments have this post-processing stuff. So we've got an invert effect, some tiling deformations, and cell shading. Let's try cube view. What's going on here? That is madness. Domain Z. Let's go back to cube. No, cube. Fucking cool. All right. Crystals. All right. Let's get rid of invert. All right, what kind of controls does this crystal have? So we got a button, which is, yeah. Pretty cool. Angles. Oh shit, we're animating that. I'm just gonna put you through this thing. It's so easy to make crazy shit with this thing. So we got that angle. We've got an off. What's this doing? And in our effect, we're quantizing to 4 levels. 4 was clearly the magic number here. Try to hook this effect amount up to modulation. Yeah, I don't think we actually have any modulation. Let's hook some audio reactivity up. All right. Save this thing. Back to the what the fuck we were doing. That was right here. All right, what do we got here? I think we just made this one recently. Yeah, with some stuff. Got some swirls. This is that noodle party thing we went over earlier. Also got these patches, I think, from the last stream. They're all pretty similar, but they are excellent. Okay, which one's the best? I like the first one. All right, so this is using the domain repetition thing again with an interesting hyper effect. And yeah, so we are using lighting, I think. Yeah. Okay, so turn down the ambient lighting. Wow. Yeah, so this is, you can kind of sort of get a sense of what the hyper effect is doing here. All right. Let's change the shape of this domain repetition thing. So this is the domain repetition right there. That's what we put through the hyper effect. So instead of squares, come on, man. We're gonna use, let's just cycle through these things. I mean, that's pretty dope. Cool. Let's give it some color. Mod couple, black and white. So effect 3 is what we want. Let's just cycle through. Up table. No. Kind of love this. Whoa. Okay. All right, I'm gonna save this. We'll go back in here and change that effect some more. Also fucking cool. What are we on? We're on channel power. I think there's individual gamma correction per channel. Reach bypass. Also cool. Negative. Balance. All right. Let's do the color palettes. Seems to have murdered all of the dynamic range, so we're not doing that. All right. Now we're talking. Huh. All right. Anyways, enough of this thing. That's what we ended up with. Just stop there. So we got that. Where are we at now? That was playing around with these guys. All right. I'm going to be back in like 10 seconds. Back inside the cube. We've got like, I believe, a blending texture of some grid and these little orbs into a cube deprivation, the cube view. I'm gonna change this from a saw wave LFO or a scroll wave LFO to a sine wave. Go from 1 to -1. That is entirely too fast. Just to kind of change the actual viewpoint animation a little bit. All right, I'm gonna change the colors. The colors are coming from this color XOR thing and probably color HSV. So let's go and play around with this. All right, already an improvement. And then we got color XOR. We got phase here too. All right, let's modulate the phase. Cool. I think our modulation patterns are boring. So we're going to add some audio reactive modulation in here. I need some more stock audio modulators. All right, so now we've got these things. Let's play around with them. We were doing that, yeah. Effect 2 amount, you say? No, I wanted to... Oh, I'm in effect 2. This is the phase, I believe. Yeah, subtle. I like it. Okay. And color XOR, I believe, is giving us all of this, the actual color palette. And we've got 5 bits. We use the number of bits. Is this actually doing it? Yeah, it must be. All right, so instead of color XOR, we'll just like this. Channel power. Yeah, we're doing it. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this grid. We've got an AB texture with this grid and lights, and we're alpha blending. Let's change the blend to something weird. Blendness 0. Sure. All right, instead of grid, we're just gonna cycle through some of these texture generators. Domain repetition is always awesome. Too easy to make something cool with this, so we're not gonna do it. Turbulence. No. Domain warp. Nope. R tile is also pretty sweet, but kind of like it. Google's. Okay. Laser waves. Video? I think my video camera's working or something. Shit. We can put the 3D stuff inside of this cube. Cubeception. You are looking at a video synthesizer. So this is a new synth that was just released about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's this little guy right here. This is creating all the visuals. So it's a visual pattern generator. It reacts to audio, reacts to MIDI, you can control it with CV, and it can do all kinds of stuff. So I'm just going to cycle through some of these patches real quick. We're just doing a demonstration of like some of the things you can do. So it's building all these things. It's not playing video clips or video loops. It's actually generating all this stuff algorithmically in ways that you can like interact with. Yeah, you can sequence it with a DAW. It's definitely completely MIDI reactive. So anything that outputs like a sequence of MIDI, you can just plug into one of the MIDI ports on the back. You can also just plug MIDI controllers into it, so it'll work that way as well. All right, we were back in this cube. We were putting some geometry inside of this cube. All right, we're going back into here, cube 2. So we're now inside of a cube. Oh, no, not at all. It doesn't show up as a VST. It's definitely more of a hardware product than that. But if you have just like MIDI tracks and a way to export MIDI from your DAW, you can just send the MIDI out and plug it right into here. Let's turn on the lighting. So now I've got a little bit more shininess. Go into here. Let's change the image. Yeah, check out our website. There's also some info in the text of the video. So like I said, this is our new synth, so it's pricey. This thing is on sale right now. It's $1,600. So it's on sale from $1,700. But our old synth just had a pretty solid price cut, and it's now down to $900, which is now pretty expensive, but in the price range, it's definitely the most powerful thing you can get. Yeah, this is fucking dope. This geometry stuff is awesome. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's definitely a luxury good. It is not cheap. But I genuinely try to make it worth every penny. All right, so let's go back in and play around with some of these effects. So we got dithering. Yeah, that's kind of why I reduced the price on the old synth, is because I wanted to make it more accessible to a wider range of people. Still not cheap, but like for $900, it's definitely a pretty serious deal. All right, cell shading. Oh, this is so shiny. Yeah, it's got Wi-Fi. I think the synths have been around for about 2 years now, and I think we're on release 37. So firmware updates like pretty regularly. One button here. You literally just go in here, settings, update. That's it. Everything's up to date. Anybody else have any questions? Happy to answer. It's half the reason I have these streams. All right, so we've got color XOR. No, the hardware stays the same. That's the thing. The hardware is like fixed. Like there's not really any way to update hardware anyways, you know. The hardware is done, but the software is definitely changing pretty constantly. I'm always adding like new content, fixing bugs, like all kinds of stuff. You can import images, you can import video. It has like a dedicated HDMI input. It can support up to 4 video channels at once. So yeah, what you see right now, like on this cube, is definitely images. And I got a big library of images on here right now. And we can just change the images right here, and you can add your own. So I'm just gonna change the image. It comes with like 60 pictures of cats too. That alone kind of increases the sale value of a ton of money. Yeah, you can import video, you can stream video into it. You can put video on a USB stick and play that back. It can also record video. Yeah, it's a pretty unique product. Everybody loves the cats. What are you talking about? I got a channel on my Discord server where people upload their pictures of cats, and then they end up on the synth. All right, so we got these cubes. Let's play around with the cubes a little more. Actually, let's add a second object. I mean, we can, shit, I think we might be able to just add these cats, like right here. And where's the cats? Yeah, there's a cat in there somewhere. I swear this is cats. It's just pretty processed. Yeah, it's cool. All right, let's go back to. Actually, no, let's use here audio reactivity. So now the cubes react to the audio. All right, object 2. Post function. I mean, it's meant for pretty much everything. Definitely people use it for live gigs. A lot of people just hook it up at home in their studios. A lot of Eurorack people use it, so they connect it to like modular gear and stuff like that. I mean, I don't do live gigs or anything. I basically use it just like in my living room at 4 in the morning, you know? Something to kind of space out to and fuck around with. But in this price range, it's definitely designed to be 100% usable in live gigs for like VJs and stuff like that, or in clubs. There's like a handful of universities that have them too. They have them in their like computer graphics labs. Uh, all over the place. So it's the electronics are made in China because all electronics are made in China. The cases come from Canada, and everything is assembled by me in my friends in my apartment in New York City. All made by hand. All right, what have we been doing here? All right, let's go back to the demo. So we got this orb here. This is an orb with some feedback, and it's audio reactive. This is using the fractal instrument. We got this wave visualizer 2 here. Let's change the wave visualizer. You know what? Let's texture the orb with some 3D shit. Put another orb on it. No. Let's put the cube, let's put the domain repetition on the orb. Holy crap. All right, that's too much. So let's zoom it. Yeah, I mean, the last thing I want is somebody spending $1,600 and being like, this thing's a piece of shit. So I definitely put a lot of work into making it fucking premium. Cool. 4K is the move, but I'm telling you, like the HD is still an absolutely solid product for under $1,000. Like what it can do, there's absolutely nothing that competes with it. Lights. Pretty dope. All right, so putting a cube on here. Where's the cube? See, where's my video texture? Look at that. Yeah, it's crashed or something. There we go. We do have a video camera now. There we go. I created this hardware because I don't want an actual job. I'd much rather spend my time working on cool stuff. I've been working on the project in general for like 20 years, based on some software that I made when I was in college, like literally in 2004. I've been working on it in my spare time for like a decade or two, and then decided to try to sell it. And it seemed to work. All right, cube. Whoa. All right. Cube. There we go. All right, now we're talking. Go back to these split cubes. I'm gonna add some lighting. The lighting is not here. I would call myself a polymath. I definitely know software. I know electrical engineering. I know a lot about math. I play a handful of musical instruments. Do a bunch of other art shit. So I'm all over the place. I need these normals out of here. All right, we're going with the orb. We got this thing right here, which is another cube view. We're blending between two grids, and I think we're putting it through the edge detection. All right, so we got neon edges here, so we can try some other kind of things here. All right, so we got this thing, which was, yeah, this guy right here. Got this right here, which is another orb. So we got this orb with, what the fuck's going on here? A light DCT. So we'll change some of the lighting effects. Cool, appreciate it. If you're on Discord, you can swing by our Discord server too. We got pictures of cats and everything. Let's change some of the... It's always color XOR. More color palettes. Oh, that was actually nice. Nice and shiny. All right, so we got on the orb, we got this image texture. So let's just change the image. Pretty nice. Can I change the texture scale? I don't actually even know if I can. It's rotating a little bit too fast. I think that's this guy, so it's a little better. All right, so the texture on this is a little bit too dense. Oh, no problem, man. It's literally why I have these streams. This is like marketing and all this kind of stuff. I'm just kind of showing off the product here, you know? I'm sure you're not the only one with these questions that just randomly stumbles on this. All right, how do I... Yeah, there we go. All right, it's still rotating a little bit too fast, so I'm going to go and make you... There we go. All right, now we're talking. All right, this is cool. Nice and shiny. That's all coming from this guy right here. So we got constant. Let's try red. All right, I'm gonna go into here. And are we even using any of these hyper effects? We are. Turn down. Oh. Anything? I don't even know. Chromatic radial blur. All right, so I'm gonna turn on pop art. And then increase. The grid. And then play around with some of these guys. All right. And I'll play around with some effects. All right, we've got a successful orb. My new band name. Inside the cube. I need to make some like more things like this cube because this cube kind of rules. This is pretty dope. Into the crystal. I always like this thing. I need like a random LFO generator so I can like. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been working on it for 20 years. It basically started off as like a Burning Man project, so you're not too far off. Set this up in like domes and on projection screens in the middle of the desert, and have people be so hypnotized they ride their bike straight into it. All right, I'm gonna put these guys on LFOs. This guy's going on an LFO as well. All right, I'm gonna save this. Back with the tour. All right, so we were on 35. All right, Fractal 506. I think it's just an old school fractal patch. But let's add some animation to it. We're gonna animate this angle right here. It's gonna go from like 0.9 to negative 0.9. All right. Or let's just make it 0.1. Just to be simple. All right. Too fast. Yeah, I try to make it worth the money. Like I said a million times, it's not cheap, but I don't know. It's worth the price if you're into this kind of thing. All right, now we're going to the post-processing layer to add like a hyper effect. There? No. No. This is cool. I think it's edge section. What I have a passion for more than anything is not having to get an actual job. Also, this beats the shit out of like optimizing ad revenues for multinational fucking evil conglomerates, you know? Cool. Yeah, so this is just a classic fractal patch with some post-processing. All right, on with the tour. Back inside the cube. Let's turn off the cube. And make it a little bit less. I think the bleach bypass is doing a lot of work here, so. Yeah, I mean, like a VST interface to this thing is not a terrible idea. It's the kind of thing I'll add to the list for when I sell 1 million of these and can hire some more employees. I think we got an image going on here. Yeah, let's change the image. You know what? I need to add some lighting too. Lighting is clearly off. Light DCT. Some of these new normal vectors. Instead of an image texture, let's try it. Not doing that yet. Laser waves. Ripples. All right, anyways, back with the tour. This thing in the cube, we got a sphere with some other stuff. This is the same thing with the domain repetition patch. It's an interference patch from a while ago. It was pretty sweet. All right, here's another one of our 3D things. We got the cube, this helix, the modulation with the audio activity. Here's an old hyperflux patch through the pixelation effect. Let's actually go into here and play around with the post-processing on this. All right, chromatic aberration. First of all, let's get rid of the pixelation in here, I think it is. I think we turn the deform down. Where the fuck is it even? Huh. There's got to be a deform amount somewhere, somehow. Okay, let's just turn it off. And then we'll add some interesting post-processing stuff. Aberration, yep. Add the pixelation back there if we want to. Cycle through. Yeah, they all ship from New York. Got stock right now. Here, check us out. Where we at? We are currently in my workshop. Let's turn off some of this crazy shit. That is my current inventory right there. Here's my microscope, my thick stuff that I fucked up. Here's like bits and pieces. Here's like the workbenches with a bunch of stuff half finished. There we go. 3D printer, cool guitar. Yeah, shipped to overseas. The warranty is basically like, if it fucks up and it's my fault, I'll fix it. Pretty much open-ended. If the company's out of business, then can't really do that, but haven't had any problems so far. I ship overseas. All of the VAT, taxes, and import stuff are caught on my website. It's bullshit. So I don't really have to deal too much with DHL or anything like that. It's all automatic. Here's another. It's got a 3D oscilloscope on here. It's another patch from that thing. It's also pretty sweet. We can go and add some post-processing here. Add aberration or ripple tint. This is actually dope. All right, what kind of parameters do we have in here? With guitar, I mostly like blues rock kind of stuff. Piano, I play like modern contemporary, if you want to call like Ludovico Einaudi. I do a little bit of like actual productions too. I'm into like IDME kind of stuff. Tommen has some of the HD models. Tommen doesn't actually have the 4K at the moment because it's mostly paperwork at the moment, and also I don't have too much stock of the 4K for another few months. But Tommen will have the 4K in like 3 months, I think. Bitwig. I was using Ableton for a while, but Bitwig is just like way better. Just around the board. The only thing Ableton has going for it is that there are more people that use it, so you have more resources. Like Bitwig is technically superior. Cool. What kind of stuff do you make? Cool. Back to this orb that we were playing with. A little more feedback. What is even going on here? Oh yeah, this is an old school Cat Party patch. This is yeah, mod effect. Let's add some post processing to this. Let's add some cell shading. I think it's gonna actually do it. Oh, it is actually. Cool. All right. What do we have here? Oh yeah. All right. I think we're down to the ones that I actually made earlier today. So that's the full inventory of new patches. Yeah, cool. Yeah, glad the algorithm seemed like it worked. All right, now we're going to 3D land. All right, I'm going to turn off this effect. And I'm going to turn on geometry. Where the fuck are you? All right. Light DCT is the way. And we're going into here. And we're going to play with this. Fractured. Yeah, let's play with this thing. All right. What is going on there? It seems like it might be glitching. All right. I've got this. Got this image. Let's change it to something else. Let's put domain warping on here. Or audio reactivity. What is up with these circles, man? Orb? Yeah. All right. All right. Vertex tile. The stuff we're playing with right now is like new stuff. This is coming out like in the next few weeks. Got to get the UI kind of sorted. And all this 3D shit is definitely not out yet. It'll be out soon. I think we're at the thing now. All right, I don't know what I'm doing here. Fracture, no. Helix, no object. Right. Cube. Vertex cube, nope. Wait, I think that's like this. All right, so I'm gonna animate these guys. Too fast. Yeah, this thing can keep somebody occupied for basically forever. The possibilities are just genuinely gargantuan. Like, I made the fucking thing, and I barely scratched the surface of what it can do. I just don't even have the time myself. Still too slow, or too fast. All right. We're going to take this image on here, and we're going to use an AB texture, which will let us blend between two texture sources. Right now we've got an image and some lasers. Yeah, no corporate backers whatsoever. Completely privately owned company. All right, and we're going to use the output texture to get some feedback. Which, I don't know if it's even working. Mix. Oh yeah, it is. It's just not doing anything great. All right, well, we're not doing this. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to put a second cube on here. We're going to combine domain repetition and another cube. fuck are you? It is... Oh, wait, yeah, the face is going to AB texture. All right, we've got an image. We got domain repetition for 1. And we've got... What is it? Now... We've got a cube for 2. Oh, all right. Well, that crashed my shit. All right, that is not an option. I mean, you can always feed the original Recursion Studio into the new one as like a texture source and double fractals. All right. So no nested cubes, it seems. Okay, Rupert Spell. Yeah, I can't do support on this video right now, but definitely get in touch with me. I'll help you sort that out. I can always send you a replacement if that's what it comes to, but I need your contact info and all that kind of stuff. But it's definitely something we can figure out. Speaking of Aphex Twin, dude actually bought one of my original models. Don't tell anybody. All right, back to the cube. Light DCT. And yeah, so we're gonna do AB texture again. Domain repetition. What about this thing? FFT texture. So there's a bug that the synth shipped with to do with the LCD panel that might be what you are running into. If you can get it connected for long enough to connect to Wi-Fi and then update it, you might actually be able to solve the problem without having me to do anything, because there's an update that was just released a few days ago that should fix the LCD problems that a handful of people have been having. So yeah, the CV stuff is getting some updates in one of the new updates too. All right, let's put an orb on here. Can't get the cube, but we can orb that might help. Now it's the normal vectors aren't translating properly. Holy crap. You can't update via USB. You can update either via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. I tried to get USB updating working at one point, but it was too much. It was more work than it was worth. Oh, that's pretty dope. All right, so I am going to... All right, I'm going to zoom this thing out a little bit. I think that's you. Yeah. So we've got a cube. Outline it a little bit. I need a more general family of these kind of outlines where you cut out slices. It's pretty sweet. Yeah, it's got 4 USB ports. No USB-C. It's got USB 3 and USB 2 though, so mostly good enough. Like adapters for USB-C are like $5. Also, I'm gonna be back in like 30 seconds. I need to get some water. Yeah, it uses USB-C for power, and then the USB ports are for USB sticks for recording or uploading images, and for like video cameras. All right, so we're back to cube time. All right, so outline is going to go back up to right here. And then, yeah, what the fuck am I doing? It's face alpha function. What does that even do? Hey, all right, so I don't even know what this does. Oh crap! Oh shit! You can cut out like areas and make them transparent. Got features in here that I didn't even remember adding. I don't even remember what to do. All right. We got the main repetition. We got this grid. I'm gonna change the grid to something else. Then we're gonna add a. All right, vertex cube, vertex singular. Oh, I got a post function. What does this thing even do? Okay, it's effects. Got some effects. I'm gonna turn off this alpha function. It's really doing it for me. Actually, that's pretty sweet. All right, so I'm gonna get rid of the grid. Okay, it's dope. Yeah, let's play around with the lighting now. So we got light DCT here. Let's change this to random shit. Turn down the ambient lighting, turn up. I haven't been able to play around with Bitwig for months. I've been getting this thing out the door. All right, so we got vertex cube here. Scale. All right. Let's go play around with some effects. Pixelate? No, thank you. All right. All right. I've been on the stream for like almost 2 hours, so I've got another 15 minutes maybe. So if you guys have any questions or anything you want to see me get into or mess around with. That'd be a good time. Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. It was not easy. Yeah, sometimes it's more. So I got a to-do list of things that I need to add to this. It's literally got like 3,000 items on it. So it's more an exercise in managing my own time than ideas of any sort. Yeah, if anybody's been around for a while, you remember how Hyperflux happened. I literally had an idea one day. The next day, I like tossed it in there and started on the stream. And then, like, one of the coolest instruments on here kind of happened. It was just some random idea that turned out to be really fucking great. It is zoom out of this cube a little bit. No, well, I mean, it's a niche product, so there's generally not enough revenue to support like a large company. If I can afford to have some employees, then do it in a heartbeat. What do you even do here? Huh. Come on. All right, got like 5 or 10 more minutes. Anybody got any questions or anything interesting? What else we got on here? Let's go back to these pre-made ones. Yeah, that's the idea. Giant ass projection screen. No computer involved at all. Uh, Everything is saved on board. It comes with like 1,000 presets, something like that. Any point in time you see something you like, it's saved, and then like a whole library management system. You can even like broadcast your presets online and share them with other people and download other people's presets and that kind of stuff. Pretty easy. Yeah, literally, like you don't need a computer and you can't even use it with a computer without like adapters and stuff. It's designed to be totally standalone. So if you're running like Ableton and have, or like a DAW and have like 300 VSTs open, your computer's already possibly maxed out. So you don't want to be running Resolume and a DAW at the same time. So it kind of offloads all the processing to another device. No. These devices do not get bricked. They're pretty brick proof. When I released the first devices into beta 2 years ago, a handful of them got bricked just because I didn't know what I was doing, but I haven't had anything get bricked in probably about 2 years, so pretty stable that way. Yeah, I mean, updating via Wi-Fi is kind of my innovation, you know, like you get a nice piece of software that costs a ton of money, you expect to get updates and support for years, and I'm kind of bringing that to hardware as well. I mean, it's fucking 2026, you know? Ah, sweet. Glad to hear it. Yeah, 4K update next couple weeks. I still really don't know what I want to do with all this 3D stuff, but I'm going to release it into experimental form. It might end up being its own instrument. It might not be. I really don't know. It's all quite complicated. Yeah, warranty is basically like if it breaks and it's not because you did something really stupid with it, I'll fix it. Uh, Technically on paper it's like 2 years, but if it's 3 years and it's broken and it's just because something died, I'll definitely fix it. Oh, sweet. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. They're generally pretty solid devices, though. Like, some devices have some issues out of the box uh, that I normally get fixed pretty straight, but like after that, most devices don't really tend to have issues. I think I've had like one person with a knob that's died. A couple of people whose LCD panels have gone sideways, but it's not super common. Yeah, of course. All right. Well, I think that's going to be it for the live stream. I should be around next weekend. Probably not for a week or two after that. But yeah. Thank you everybody for coming by, and I hope you guys are enjoying your synths. And yeah, like I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I got like 15 of them left. So if you want one, now's a good time to get one. They'll be out of stock probably at the end of the month. Up some more in another few months. All right. Thanks, everybody. No problem. Like I said, feel free to swing by our Discord server regardless. You can find all the contact info on the website.